Here's the opening range recap for December 2024. For the Dow, just one trade here. As far as the totals goes, 24 points. This one here is ugly, which I want to talk about in a little bit. NQ 76.25 points, and the S&P had a big month of 25 points. Again, not including the ones in red. The ones in red are not in the totals. So 25 points in the S&P, that is the largest profitable S&P month. And that it was actually clean as well. Excuse me, wasn't clean. I had this one here. So let's take a look at that one first, since that one is the easiest. That happened on December 9th. And what happened was it missed a 25% exit on the first trade. It missed it by one tick. So had the pivot, and then needed to exit 1.5 points. It did 1.25 points. Since it missed it on pivot 1, that made the second pivot a most safe entry, which was a winner of 1.5. So technically, if you can do it based on the official results, you would add that 150 to here, and it'd be 2650. Otherwise, if you've done what I've talked about before, where if it misses it by a tick, you count it as a quote-unquote win, and you move on to the next thing, and you don't, since the most safe entries are always based off of a previous loss, kind of screws up the timing of everything. So anyway, however you did that, so if you're trading officially, you put this down here, and you did good. The next ones are ugly. So the Dow 25% and the NQ 25%. Again, as I mentioned numerous times, this system works, or trading idea works really, really well if you can avoid like the 1 days like this. S&P worked out all right that day, but Dow and the NQ did not. I don't have notes on if there was news or anything on that particular day. But as far as the Dow goes, the Dow, there was a big opening range, 159 points, which is on the larger side. Had pivot 1, wasn't until 10:30, and then pivot 2, or excuse me, pivot 1 was at 10:23. Pivot 2, which was a most safe entry here, was at 10:30. But it kept losing, so it kept losing all the way down to pivot 5. Now the issue is pivot 3, 4, and 5 all happened after 11 o'clock, which is times we don't enter. So that's why I just put ugly versus an actual number, because I don't know, depending on how you traded it, would determine that. So large opening range, just never got 39 points. So you would have had to do that, and you wouldn't have had a most safe entry, because the first entry on the 50% wasn't till 11 a.m. On the NQ, NQ for that day had a smaller opening range, not tiny, but 41.75 points, which is a bit smaller than it had the 2 previous days. But nothing really suspect on that until about 10:25, where it started popping off a whole bunch of entries. So something happened around that time, news-wise or whatever. But this one here, pivot 4 was a loss for both, making pivot 5 a trade. So pivot 4 was at 10:25, pivot 5 was at 10:28, pivot 6 was at 10:30, pivot 7 was at 10:32. So within 7 minutes, the market went from 21,393 all the way up to 21,518. So it popped over 120 points in those 7 minutes. So you ended up, it took 3 times to get to on the 25%. 50% was a break even after the 2 trades. So again, depends on how you did that. The market was going crazy at that time. And but those are the numbers. You have all the numbers for 2024. You can go back and look at those videos here on YouTube. TradingIdeas101.com if you're interested in that as well. Hope you had a great 2024 and look forward to 2025. Take care.